The command vessel's tactical display showed minimal defenses around the human settlement. Standard procedure for the Varunax Dominion. Evaluate, identify weaknesses, obliterate resistance, subjugate survivors. There are never many survivors. Analysis confirms another isolated human colony, Battle Navigator Cursa announced to our assault team. Designation New Liberty. Population approximately 30,000. Military presence minimal. I flexed my primary assault limbs, feeling the familiar anticipation of conquest. This would be my 23rd planetary assault since hatching from the warrior cast chambers. The previous 22 had been glorious victories for the Dominion. This would be no different. Kekstock, you will lead the Southern Assault Team. Battle Navigator Cursa's mandibles clicked with authority as he addressed me. Initial scans indicate their defensive capabilities are concentrated in the northern quadrant. Exploit the southern approach. Eliminate resistance. Standard protocols. My thoracic plates vibrated with acknowledgement. Glory to the Dominion. The drop pods launched with precision, our entry masked by the primitive atmospheric detection systems the humans employed. As we plummeted through cloud cover, I observed the colony's layout through my tactical feed. Standard human configuration, standard command structures surrounded by concentric rings of habitation and industrial sectors. But something was different about this colony. Battle Navigator, I transmitted. I'm detecting unusual visual markers throughout the settlement. Clarify, came the immediate response. Textile displays, primitive territorial markings, repeated patterns of stars and striped coloration. Irrelevant, Cursa dismissed. Focus on primary objectives. The pods impacted with calculated force, burrowing into the soft earth at the colony's southern perimeter. Hydraulic mechanisms hissed as the assault doors blew outward. I emerged first, my exoskeleton glistening in the planet's harsh sunlight. My squad of 15 elite warriors formed up around me, weapons primed. "Forward," I commanded. Standard extermination grid. We moved with precision toward the nearest cluster of human structures. Strange rectangular dwellings, separated from each other by green organic growth. Inefficient use of space, typical of inferior species. The tactical display indicated minimal movement. Perfect. They were unaware of our arrival, until they weren't. The first volley didn't come from defensive turrets or military-grade weapons. It came from the dwellings themselves. Projectiles, crude chemical propellant weapons, erupted from windows, doorways, even from behind those strange textile banners with stars and stripes. "Contact!" Second Warrior Tacta shouted unnecessarily as his right sensory cluster exploded in a spray of acid blood. "Tactical analysis," I demanded, diving behind a primitive human transport vehicle. "Where are their military units?" That's when the realization struck me. These weren't military units. The weapons fire was coming from the habitation structures, from the civilian population. All dwellings are producing hostile fire, my tactical system confirmed, analyzing weapon signatures. Primitive chemical propellant projectile weapons, low technology, high quantity. High quantity indeed. 3 of my warriors were already down, their carapaces punctured by the crude but surprisingly effective projectiles. We were Varanax warriors, engineered for combat, protected by the finest battle armor in 12 sectors. How were these primitives inflicting casualties? Volume of fire, my tactical system responded to my unspoken question. Current estimate, 300 separate weapon signatures within scanning range. Impossible. The military presence was listed as minimal. These were dwelling structures, not military installations. I peered around the transport vehicle, triggering my optical enhancement. A human emerged from the nearest dwelling, an elder specimen based on the gray filaments covering its cranial structure. It held a weapon that my system identified as a shotgun. Primitive, short range but devastating at close quarters. "Civilians are armed," I transmitted to the command vessel. "Request tactical reassessment." The human elder spotted me and raised its weapon. I rolled to cover behind a different obstacle as the air where I'd been standing erupted with projectiles. "Yee-haw!" the human shouted, an incomprehensible vocalization that my translator couldn't process. "Got ourselves some bugs to squash, neighbors." More humans emerged from nearby dwellings, varying ages, genders, physical configurations. All armed, all firing toward our positions with surprising discipline. "Fall back to defensible positions," I ordered my remaining squad. "Concentrated fire on the primary threat clusters." We attempted to establish a perimeter, but the humans were everywhere, not advancing in formation as military units would, but firing from multiple directions, withdrawing, reappearing elsewhere. No formal tactics I could discern, yet devastatingly effective. "Command," I transmitted urgently. "The colony's entire population appears to be armed combatants. Request immediate air support." "Negative," came Curse's response. "Northern assault teams reporting similar resistance. Air assets are engaged with unexpected orbital defenses. Continue mission." I hissed in frustration as another warrior fell beside me, his thorax punctured by multiple projectiles. We were down to 7 effective combatants from our original 15. "Advance," I ordered. "Push toward the central structures. Eliminate resistance as encountered." We moved forward in combat formation, firing suppression bursts at every window and doorway. The humans withdrew before our advance, but they didn't flee. They repositioned, continuing to fire from new vantage points. My tactical scanner identified a larger structure ahead, some kind of communal building with a large textile star and stripe marker displayed prominently. Multiple humans were using it as a defensive position. "Focus fire on the central structure," I commanded. Breaching formation. As we advanced, I noticed something peculiar about the human defenders. In our previous conquests, human colonies typically had uniformity, similar genetic markers, pigmentation, physical characteristics. But these humans displayed remarkable variation, different skin tones, physical sizes, genetic diversity far exceeding normal colony parameters. More curious still was their behavior. Other human colonies fought with desperation, with fear. These humans were different. They communicated with each other using incomprehensible vocalizations, sometimes even producing sounds that my translator identified as laughter during combat. They were enjoying this. "Hey, alien," one human shouted from a window. "Welcome to Texas." The words meant nothing to me, but the projectile that followed punched through 2nd Warrior Gershik's sensory cluster. We reached the communal building, now down to 5 warriors. I planted breach charges on the main entrance while the others provided covering fire. "Breaching now," I announced. The charges detonated and we stormed inside. The interior was some kind of weapons repository. Walls lined with countless variants of the projectile weapons the humans had been using, display cases filled with even more. "Battle Navigator," I transmitted. "We've located their armory." "Negative," an elder human voice responded from behind me. "This here's just my personal collection. The armory's down the street." I spun to face the voice. An ancient human stood there, its frame bent with age, sparse white filaments covering its head. It held one of the shotgun weapons, this one larger than the others I'd observed. "Your kind picked the wrong colony to invade," the human said. "Should have done your homework. New Liberty was founded by Americans." My translator struggled with the term, Americans. Some human subclassification, apparently. "This weapon's a custom 12-gauge loaded with what we call candy cane," the human continued, seeming unconcerned that it faced a Varanax warrior twice its size. "Alternating slugs and buckshot, designed it myself." I raised my plasma disruptor, targeting the fragile human. "Your species will be subjugated like all others. Your primitive weapons change nothing." The human's facial features arranged into what my system identified as a smile. "Son, Americans don't get subjugated. We've been fighting tyranny since 1776. Again, meaningless numbers to me. Think twice next time you invade the sons of America. My weapon discharged, but the human had already moved with surprising agility for its apparent age. Its own weapon fired with a deafening report. I felt the impact against my thoracic plating, followed by searing pain as the projectiles found the seams in my armor. I staggered backward, acid blood pouring from multiple wounds. The human approached, still wearing that smile. "Don't worry," it said, standing over me and pointing its weapon at my primary sensory cluster. "Your buddies up north and in orbit are getting the same welcome." My tactical feed confirmed this. Reports of massive casualties across all assault teams, our command vessel under attack from previously undetected orbital platforms. How had our intelligence been so wrong? "What are Americans?" I managed to ask as my systems began shutting down. The human's smile widened. "Folks who believe everyone has the right to own the means to defend themselves against threats, especially threats from the stars." The last thing I saw was the human's weathered finger tightening on its weapon's trigger. The last thing I heard was its laughing voice. Remember the Alamo bug boy? In the aftermath, Battle Navigator Curse's final transmission reached the Varonax Dominion homeworld. The message was brief but would forever change our conquest protocol. Warning to all Dominion forces. Colonial designation markers showing stars and stripes indicate human subclassification Americans. Do not engage. Repeat, do not engage. Tactical analysis shows 94% casualty rate among invasion forces. They call their colony model a well-regulated militia. Every dwelling is a fortress, every civilian a warrior. The Dominion cannot prevail against such madness. The Dominion would continue its conquest of the galaxy. But the star and stripe markers became known among our kind as death banners. To sight one was to divert course immediately. We, who had subjugated 17 species across 12 sectors, had finally found something we feared: Americans. Thank you for listening to this story. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to leave this video a like and subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this. Video shares, memberships, and super thanks help the channel grow as well, so feel free to partner with this channel in that way as we grow. With that all said, thank you again for listening to the story, and thank you for your time. On the left side of your screen are some videos I think you might be interested in. I hope to see you in the next one.